Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't filmed in so long. I think the last video I filmed was before the surgery. Comment down below if you want to hear about how that went. I'm starting to think that I'm going to start phasing out talking about my Crohn's. I just don't want to feel like I'm always complaining, so I'll probably just give you like necessary updates at this point unless you ask for it, but yeah. So I just realized that I filmed an intro without actually doing an intro. So obviously this video is about me reviewing a couple new products, but this is actually the first PR package that I've ever received, which is really super cool. And I'm so grateful, but I just wanted to let you know that it's not going to influence my opinion at all about the palette. But the Estee Lauder highlighter I did by myself. So if you want to see what I feel about this new palette from Devil's Beauty Co., just keep on watching. So I feel like this video is going to be really long, so I'm just going to kind of get into it. I'm going to first lay down my base on my eyes. I always use Tarte Shape Tape, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to use everything that I normally use so I know if the shadows are good. Okay, so I just blended out my base. I'm going to show you the palette. So it was sent to me by devilsbeauty.co on Instagram. I want to show you the size of the palette. So this is my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, and this is the Devil's Beauty Co. palette next to it. And then you can see it next to the Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe. I think this palette sells on their website for $45, and there are discount codes that you can use to get money off. I am going to have to use another palette with this just because for the look that I want to do, there's no transition shade in here. So I'm thinking I want to use these two shades, but there's no transition. Oh, I just dug my nail into it. Mother F. So I'm going to use Buon Fresco from Modern Renaissance as my transition. But first I'm going to take a Morphe M433 brush and dig into this matte burgundy shade. And I am just going to pack that on my lid. That is really pretty. I'm hoping they blend out. They are really powdery. I'm getting a lot of fallout in the pan, but I really don't care about that considering the pan size. If they're pigmented and they blend out really well. So I'm honestly just going to put this all over the lid. Kind of taking my time because I don't know how they're going to blend. And I'm keeping the shadow relatively low because once you go up, you can't really go back down. And then use the shade from the Anastasia palette to kind of blend that up. So I did get a little fallout under the eye, but honestly, a lot of my palettes, I get more. I just noticed more dust in the actual pan rather than underneath my eye. But that's really pigmented. Let me take this Morphe M505 brush and go into Buon Fresco and the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette and kind of just go right above that and start blending. Yeah, and see actually that one, you could see the powder coming off my eye when I blended that one. My unpopular opinion is that I don't care for Anastasia palettes that much. Like the colors are pretty, but I feel like they're all so powdery. And when I blend, I'm like barely touching my eye. The mistake I used to make was that like I was digging into my eye, and then before I knew it, my eyeshadow was like up to here. So I like to take a little bit of product at a time and just barely touch the skin. I'm like not loving the purple aspect of it, so I'm probably going to pack in more of the burgundy shade on top. I just want it to look more blended than it did. Okay, it's not bad. Not the best, but I'm thinking it's actually the Anastasia shade I don't like. Let me pack on more of the burgundy. See, I think this is like a really pretty shade, so I'm thinking I just shouldn't have gone the purple route. Let me actually dip into Red Ochre in the same Anastasia palette. I'm just gonna take that right in the crease. So as far as the blend goes, this is blending out really well. I just kind of wish I would have taken a different transition shade. I'm actually going to try dipping into this matte cranberry shade, seeing what that adds to the look. If you want to see me use that red by itself so you can see how it looks on its own, let me know in the comments. Even if I don't have time for like a YouTube video, I can always do a pic on Instagram. I actually really like how that looks. Yeah, and I'm like barely dipping into that red shade, and I love how that looks. Now I'm just gonna take a semi-clean Morphe M514 brush and just blend that out with nothing on it. I really like how that looks. Okay, so I think I'm going to take this glitter here, and I'm going to pack that in the center of the lid, and then I'll see if I like how that looks, and if not, we can go from there. But I'm going to take a Morphe M508 brush and just dig into the glitter. And I'm actually going to set down some NYX pigment primer. This is usually what I use with my MAC pigments, just so I can see how they perform as far as my glitters go, because I love my MAC glitters. Just gonna tap that in the center of the lid. And I usually always use Fix Plus as well, so I'm gonna do the same today. Okay, and I don't care if that like smears any of that color, because I'm just going to cover it with glitter anyway. So I'm going to take my Fix Plus and just spray my brush twice. I'm just going to pack that on. That's a pretty color combo. So the reason I like my matte glitters is because when I set down pigment primer and I spray it with Fix Plus, they don't go anywhere. And they're beautiful and they don't flake off onto my skin. So that'll be the test with this one, whether or not I like it. Right now it looks beautiful. Just hoping they stay. I like where the shape is, so I think I'm just gonna bring it out a little bit further on either side and then move on to skin, because I do have a new highlighter I'm wanting to try out. I'm loving these colors. I never wear pink glitter ever. It's kind of making me want to use them more. And on Instagram lately, I've been posting some looks, and a lot of people have DM'd me asking for purple looks, so this might be the push I need to actually do it. I keep holding my breath. Does anyone else do that when they're blending? I'm like, yeah, this is stunning. I'm loving how this is coming together. I just hope they don't flake off onto my foundation. Yeah, I love how that looks. I'm probably going to do the other eye and then come back. Okay, so I did my eyebrows off camera, carved them out with some of the Shape Tape, and I took Vermeer from the Anastasia palette and used that as a brow bone highlight. I also put on a coat of the Little Black Primer on my lashes. And I'm going to put on some falsies. I'm going to use the Ardell Demi Wispies, the foaming version. Okay, so I'm getting really tired, so I kind of wanted to skip ahead to my face makeup and then do the lashes later. So I'm just taking my sponge and dipping into my Double Wear makeup. And I mix the shade Shell and Ivory Nude this time of year. I've been very fair this year. Normally I'm Ivory Nude, but it's still been too dark. But I've been using the new Double Wear light makeup that they sent me. And when I mix it with the regular Double Wear, I still get pretty good coverage, but it's a more natural finish. So I'm just going to put that all over. And I've been using a sponge instead of a brush lately, just so I can get a more skin-like finish. But the brush will give you the most coverage. That's all I can hear right now. Oh, my hand hurts. I'm just trying to blend as fast as I can because it's like 1 a.m. right now and I'm sick of filming, so I want to wrap this up. But I wanted to get this filmed tonight because I was in the mood for it, and I haven't filmed in months. So yeah, I'm just gonna bring this down on my neck. A little bit onto my ears as well. Okay. And now I'm going to take my Shape Tape underneath the eyes. This is still the best concealer ever. I do like the Double Wear concealer, but this one definitely has more coverage. I would say I use the Double Wear one more in the summer when I want a more medium coverage. Usually never go for actual light coverage, but compared to Shape Tape, the Double Wear is kind of like light coverage when you're used to this. Let me just set my under eyes and I will be right back. Okay, so I set my entire face with the Rimmel Stay Matte Translucent Powder. I used to love this in high school and I just started repurchasing it again, and I've been loving how smooth it's making my skin look. I use this EcoTools powder brush all over the face, and then I've had this brush for probably 5 years. I don't know what brand it is. It's just like a normal foundation brush. I actually use that to set my under eye area. So now that I have a kind of a blank canvas on my skin, I'm going to take the Estee Lauder powder brush, and I'm going to show you what I've been doing with my bronzer routine lately. So I've been taking the Hoola Light Bronzer on a big fluffy powder brush like this, and just brushing that all over the cheek area and on my forehead, blending that out in a bigger area than like my contour region, just to warm up the face and give the final result a more blended look. But I've been getting a lot of compliments lately and at work about how my skin looks, so I wanted to update you on what I've changed in that. And we're gonna try out a new highlighter today, which I'm excited for. I hope it's not too dark for my skin tone, but if it is, I'll probably give it to a friend or one of Arsha's sisters. I'm gonna put that on my jawline as well. Just brushing that out in big circular motion so there's not one harsh line. Okay, and then a little bit on the sides of the nose as well. And on the bottom. There we go. Okay, so the next thing I've been doing is taking my Estee Lauder blush brush, which this is like my favorite blush that we make. I'll use it for bronzer, blush, highlight, whatever. And I'm taking the Bronze Goddess bronzing powder in medium. This has been my favorite bronzer for probably 4 or 5 months now. I'm just tapping off the excess and going on the bottom half of where I set down the Hoola Light, and just taking my time blending that out and then bringing that up a little bit. I'm not going to put it everywhere I set the first one, but kind of the outline of where we put that one. I actually haven't touched my Smashbox kit in probably a month. I'm shocked because that was like my holy grail, and I still like it, but I'm getting so many compliments on this combo. I feel so blah without bronzer on. Like, I feel like this has already transformed the look.
Yeah, into a human traffic cone.
Just with bronzer on. I think I'm gonna use my Milani Rose Blush. I haven't used that in like a month or two. Because I've been using my Makeup Revolution blush palette. Okay, yes, I'm going to use the Milani Romantic Rose Blush, and I'm going to use my Morphe M427 brush, and just swirl that in there, tap off the excess, and just put that on the apples of my cheeks and blending up. That's so pretty. Okay, I'm going to be trying out a new highlighter from Estee Lauder. You know from one of my past videos that I absolutely love the Heatwave highlighter. I haven't been reaching for it as much lately just because I'm a diehard fan of Champagne Pop by Becca, but lately I've been wanting to try a new one because I use that one every day. So this one is by Estee Lauder as well. It's part of their Bronze Goddess collection. I've never used it. Oh, it has cute packaging. It has the cheetah print on the front as well. The shade is just called Mirage, and it's like a rose gold color. I wasn't sure if it was going to be too dark for me, so we're just going to see now. I'm going to take my Morphe M510 brush and just dig into that. But let's see how that looks. Okay. It's pretty, but I do think it is a little dark for me. I can deal with it. It's just not gonna pop as much as Heat Wave just because it's kind of my skin tone. I feel like it shows up. Yeah, I think it's too dark for me. I'm just gonna go over top of that with Heat Wave. This one's so pretty. I go kind of back and forth between products, but once I get to using something every day, I forget how much I like the other options that I have in my closet. I love a highlighted nose. I hate when people talk crap about highlighted noses. I'm like, give me more. I also put a little bit in the center of my forehead and swirl that out so it's more glowy. I am really bummed that that didn't work. That actually really bummed me out. It's so pretty too. And I like just got this today. Maybe I could use this over top of blush. No, I don't like that. I feel like it just emphasized my texture right here. Okay, so while I was gone, I actually decided to just put on mascara because it's like almost 2 a.m. and I'm so tired, so there's no point in me putting on lashes.
But like, did you really think I was going to? Like, who else is shocked?
But I absolutely love this eyeshadow look that we came up with today. So I'm just going to end this with some lipstick, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on the palette. Okay. I like that better than what we had, but it's very late and I want to get to bed. Okay, so I used the Estee Lauder Pure Color Envy lipstick in Complex. This is the holiday packaging, which is stunning. And then I actually did use an Estee Lauder lip gloss in Plum Jealousy, just a little travel size. I don't like having to use Estee Lauder stuff all the time just because I don't want you to think that I'm biased towards it, but I have a ton of Estee Lauder lip products in my collection. I have a wide array of colors, so I tend to find something in that area. I'm just going to spritz my face with some Mario Badescu facial spray. I like the rose water one the best. And lately I've been actually using my sponge and pressing that into my skin. There it is. Okay. I lost my sponge. Let me do one more. And pressing that into my skin. If you want your makeup to look more skin-like, especially if you're having trouble like seeing too much powder on your skin, then try doing this with your sponge. You want your sponge to be damp. You can't do it with like a dry, hard sponge. But just kind of drench your face in any setting spray or facial spray after you're done with your makeup, and just tap that in with a sponge, and it kind of soaks up any excess powder. I think that's the final look. So I'll give you my final thoughts on the palette. So I think that the matte shades, and I use these two, which I feel like would be the most problematic if it was a bad palette. Great pigmentation, they blend it out beautifully. Honestly, better than a lot of the shadows that I already own. I don't like this shade. I don't see myself ever using this. The glitter was beautiful. This is one of my favorite eye looks that I've done. I was pretty lazy doing it. So these are pressed glitters. They'll work pretty much the same as like your glitter pigments that you get from MAC and NYX. But I think the shades are beautiful. I really want to work with this one, but I figured that would be kind of like the default pick to use, like these shades right here. So I wanted to use the pink. I really want to try these two together. I think that'd be gorgeous, especially since this one even showed up really great when I didn't even have to use that much. One thing I will say is that they are very powdery. When I stopped to do this eye, I kind of went through it quicker, and when I was working it, the powder was just kind of going everywhere in the palette. I didn't really get fallout on my skin, but in the palette it was pretty dusty. Overall, I think it's a really good palette. The pan size, I would say they're comparable to the large shadows in the Morphe, is it 39A? Retails for $45 on their website. You can use discount codes to get money off. Kind of staring at this one right now. I really want to use that. So comment down below if you want to see a look on Instagram with the reds. But other than that, I think that's all I have for this video. I am super bummed that the highlighter didn't work, but I can always just give that to a friend or one of Arsha's sisters. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. Make sure to follow me on my Instagram. It's Elegance by M25. I post a lot more on there. And I hope you guys have a great week. And thanks for watching. Bye.